What are you doing with that? Oh, you just took it off.
I'm changing the location of the block. So we had it on the inside track, but because we are on the on a run, I put it on the outside track to push the sail out that way a little bit more.
This is the first time we're using our sails properly in like 3 years. We cast off the dock 3 years ago with an engine and no experience.
We traveled from the Gulf Coast of Florida to South Carolina and back again, learning how to navigate on the Intracoastal Waterway.
At some point, we realized that we were going to need to make a different kind of journey.
So we went to Indian Town Marina in Central Florida and took out our engine. And now we're making our shakedown journey from Central Florida to the East Coast under ULO and sail.
All right, we've got a bridge and traffic ahead, so time to get organized here.
Dolphins in the Okeechobee Waterway aren't cute marine mammals. They're huge pilings tied together that big boats dock on when they're waiting for the lock.
All right, so here we are at the St. Lucie Lock.
We lost a boat hook trying to stop ourselves on the dolphins out there.
There's the lock closing. Rue, do you want to give us a recap of what happened? It wasn't exactly pretty, but we got in without too much incident.
Sort of. We lost a boat hook, but so it goes. We're in the end of the lock. Our dinghy is not getting crushed between the doors. We're preparing to go down 14 feet. I said we did okay.
We have the lock here, and then there's a dam that holds back the water, and it was at this point letting quite a lot of water through. So there was actually a lot of water flowing this way, which meant that there was a decent current pushing all of the boats toward the lock that way. And when we arrived at the lock, there were 3 different boats there waiting for the lock to open. So the lock was closed, and we had to wait for it to open to be able to go through.
Here we are at the back of the line of all the boats. You have to get from here to here between all of these boats without having reverse power.
So we came in here. We stopped all forward motion. We had the sails down. The ULO wasn't going anywhere. We were essentially doing nothing to move through the water at this point right here. But because the current was so strong, we just kept moving, which was a little worrisome. There were these dolphins over here, and we scooted here in front of the large boat back there and headed over toward the dolphin, which was all fine and well, except that we were still going really, really fast. I don't know if I can describe what it looked like to see the dolphin coming closer and closer and closer, faster and faster, but it was a little nerve-wracking. So in the end, what we did was we had a small anchor, which we tossed out as a brake.
This was the first time we ever had to use our anchor brake. We had to do it under a lot of pressure. And we really were not sure if it was gonna work, but it did.
So we tossed that out as a brake, and it slowed the boat down, and we were able to sort of gracefully glide onto this dolphin here and hook onto it with the boat hooks. Then when the green light went on and we were allowed to enter the dock.
Optimistic.
Minus a boat hook.
Minus a boat hook. We left it. Did we leave a boat hook on this dolphin?
We couldn't get it back off because the dolphins have these really thick metal cables that we were hooked onto, and it was stuck, and we were moving.
Made it into the lock. It was a little bit hectic, and though we didn't manage to catch it on camera, we tossed off an anchor and used it as a brake. We ULO'd, we sailed. We have everyone in their place except the lines. We're going down. I say it's a pretty successful first lock for a boat without an engine for the first time. And I would like to say this lock is a 14-foot drop. The biggest lock we've ever done is 13 feet. We gotta drop up a foot farther than we've ever dropped in the St. Lucie Lock. Come on, wind, 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 wind.
had a little bit of a mistake when we got caught in irons, which was completely random because the winds are swirly in here. And we got shoved by a 2-knot current onto the dock, or onto a random dock, just like a random house dock. So we now have a plan to get off, and we're working on that right now, but first we're cleaning up some lines in the cockpit.
So we were coming around this corner here, and the reason we should have been paying closer attention is because, first of all, we were coming around a pretty wide corner, so we were changing directions pretty intensely. Also, we were going from a narrow waterway to the much wider waterway of the South Fork here. I'm not 100% sure how this happened, but we were sailing along, and we definitely ran out of wind and started getting carried by the current.
So we were coming around this corner here, and we went into irons, and the current and wind pushed us over here into this corner, and we sort of bounced off this corner and got wedged in between these two pilings, so we're like that. And the current just kept coming from over here, and the current had us pinned against these two pilings, so we were just stuck.
It was Rue who came up with the idea that would help us get the boat straightened out and pointed in the right direction.
The plan was to use our cockpit winch, which was right here, thankfully, and this piling over here, and we tied a line from here to here, and we just slowly winched ourselves with our winch handle over.
I stood up here at the front and I maneuvered it around the piling so that we ended up getting oriented this way, parallel to the dock. We were in a much better position.
Current's still pretty strong, I don't know if you can see, and
Lessening up.
well, hopefully. We don't have that much light, so it's been an adventure, but I think we can make it.
The current is really bad out here, but I mean, if you could see through the noise out there,
Yeah, out there
it's like
not that
completely
bad.
stopped.
So I hope we can make it out of here. I think we can anyway.
Now, the next thing that we had to do was we had to get off of the dock, because sailing out this way around
Was
the
not an
piling
option.
was not an option. It was, the current was, first of all, the current was going too strong, the quarters were too tight. These were really designed for power boats that could zoom in and out with a lot of control.
And there was a boat rack.
And there was a boat rack down here, so we couldn't just sail, we couldn't just go out the end of it. So we had to come up with a way to get us off of the pilings. And this is when Zibby really came through for us, remembering something he had seen on a Learning to Sail video that we had watched a while ago. And Zibby, can you just tell us what your idea was?
So we were tied up to the dock and we had to get out. So I thought, well, if we can use our anchor to stop ourselves, we should be able to use it as our first power. So what we did was pop our rod out in the dinghy over here, dropped our big mantis anchor, and we just slowly worked ourselves over to the anchor. And that's where we spent the night.
That is my full cabin.
It is a full cabin, isn't it?
And I need to sleep in that cabin.
You need to sleep in that cabin. Well, we'll move all this stuff out when we get to Stewart today. And then you can sleep in that cabin. Okay? The engine makes us not have to work together as a crew. The engine does everything, and then we do nothing, and then we learn how to do nothing. And I'm superfluous. There's nothing that I have to do to be contributing to the crew except the galley work and whatever. But now, without the engine, we need a greater degree of versatility in our crew. We need each of us to know many different jobs so that we can have a fluidity that would keep us out of situations like we had yesterday, which if each of us was able to do more, wouldn't have happened.
We're going a knot.
One knot.
Yeah.
So much for Papa's food.
Well, we've got wind against us.
Yeah, we are.
But we're going with current.
But we are going with the current. Well, the current was pretty slack.
It's really slack this morning.
Current doesn't look like it's following our tracks. We're in 10 feet of water.
Not help us because we need help.
A note about the weather. When you've got a cold front coming, and if you look at the isobars on the map, you'll notice, especially around here, the low pressure area along the cold front is to the north. And the pressure isobars are kinked this way along the cold front, which means that as the cold front approaches, you're getting winds from the south and then the southwest, which was great for our sail through the St. Lucie Canal, because those were the winds that we needed to push us in that northeasterly direction. But when the cold front hit, there's an abrupt change in the winds from the south to the southwest to winds from the north.
It's a little bit crazy because the wind shifted to the north 3 hours before they were supposed to. And now we've got a direct headwind to the marina up there, which is literally less than half a mile away. We had to do an emergency drop anchor because the wind really picked up all of a sudden. We just have our mini Delta out right now. The Mantis is still aboard.
So on the final leg of the journey, we had made it underneath this bridge. And you can see that although the river is quite wide here, the depths on either side of the channel are very shallow. So we were here, and the mooring field was here. We were very, very close. But because we were caught in this narrow channel facing a dead headwind, and we were completely and totally exhausted, and the ULO didn't have a shot at being able to fight it, and we didn't really have enough maneuvering room to sail confidently, and we were caught up here against shallows in the lee of the wind, that we decided to throw in the towel and call the towboat.
So, for the record, we are not very good sailors yet. We're gonna go onto a bowl and try to figure out how to sail. I think we're just gonna practice every weekend and surf and sail, get stronger, work on all of our ULO problems. Everyone's having a blast out here though.
Guys, sit down.
Big wave.
The first wave of the cold front moved through and left us with a long break between that wave and the second wave, where under different circumstances with more sailing experience or fewer jobs, we might have been able to sail our way slowly up to the mooring field and get on a ball without a tow. But this was this day, and this is how we made it.
Row!
Thanks for watching and subscribing to our YouTube channel. And thank you to our patrons. We love making these videos for you, and we love to travel and take you with us. If all of our current subscribers became patrons at $1 a month, we could cast off our dock lines. Or if 10% of our subscribers gave us $12 a month, we'd be on our way. You can support us with a monthly donation on Patreon or a one-time donation on Ko-fi.com. Thanks for your support. We couldn't do this work without you. And have a happy new year. Let's go places together in 2021.